Hey everybody, welcome into another VR accessibility overview, and this one is for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Empire City for Steam for PC VR and for the MetaQuest 3 and 3S. Alright, with this also being on PC, I will start with, is Steam VR supported? Now, at the moment that I'm recording this, which is on Thursday the 21st of May, the Steam store page just says that you can use the Valve Index, the Quest 2, Quest 3, and the Quest 3S to play this game for PC VR. It does not say anything specific about Steam VR. With that being said, because of the way that it's worded, keep in mind that it may start up in Steam VR, but then, like a lot of games, may then kick you to Meta VR or Horizon VR or whatever it's called instead of Steam VR, which will then make it difficult to use things like OVR advanced settings or walk-in VR and those kind of things. So do keep that in mind. That may happen, but it also may not. I don't know. The page is worded strangely. Now, seated mode. Yes, 100%. You can play the seated. Whether you need to sit down, you have to, you just want to, for whatever reason, none of my business. You can totally play this while seated, just fine. Do not have to always be standing. Alright, changeable controls. That would be a no, sadly. I guess if you count this as a control, you can change it, which is whether or not to have sticky grip, to make it so you don't always have to hold down the grip triggers to be able to hold your weapons or when climbing or any of that stuff. But other than that, you cannot change a thing. You will have to either go into the Steam VR rebind profiles, if those are even accessible, like I said. With if Steam VR is supported, I don't know. It words it weirdly, so you may not even be able to access those. But if you are on a MetaQuest headset, you can, of course, go into the accessibility settings on the headset, and in there you can remap the face buttons, the triggers, the analog sticks, all that stuff. But at least with those, I'm not sure about the profile rebinds for PC VR. The in-game prompts will end up still pointing back to the default. So you'll just have to remember what you changed and what it was prior to you doing so. Now for movement types, you have smooth movement and you actually do have teleport movement. For turning types, you have snap movement, or snap turning, sorry, messed up on that. It's the second video where I've done that. Snap turning, smooth turning, and then, of course, physical turning. That's a given with VR, but I always do like to make sure I do make note of it. Colorblind modes. No, sadly. But if you're on a MetaQuest headset, you can, of course, go into the accessibility settings, go under visual, and then to color correction, and you will have 3 different choices for colorblind settings. You can turn any of those on, whichever one works for you. Obviously, not everybody is the same when they are colorblind. But I will say, when that is activated, it is headset wide. So whether you are in an app or a game or out of a game and app, just in the virtual environment or what have you, it does all stay changed until you go in and turn off that setting. Closed captions, subtitles, all that good stuff. Subtitles are on by default. I don't think I had to turn those on at all. But if not, they are in the settings. No difficulty levels for this game. You just kind of get what you get. Whatever there is, however tough it is, that's just how it is. You can play this in co-op, which I'm assuming... I don't know if that will then up the difficulty or if that will just make it so, like, you know, you could have some help if you need some help. Alright, upper body and arm movement levels. Now, this is somewhat of a tricky one, kind of. You can highlight items and just kind of hold the trigger on one of the controllers and it'll pull it towards you. So that's good. You can have your arms wherever. Don't necessarily need, you know, a lot of range to be able to do that. However, the fighting, the combat, of which there is a good bit, happens quite often. And then climbing and all of that combined, I'm gonna say full. And the main reason that I will say it, especially when it comes to the climbing, you can go really close to like a gutter or a pipe or what have you on the side of a building and climb that and not have a ton of arm movement. But when you get to the top of the building is where it's still going to kind of be needed, because you will need to put your arm down to raise yourself up to then be able to actually fully get onto the top of a building or some other structure. And with all of this, I'm going to say a full. Now, you could try this game and be like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. But at least that is what it seems like to me. That's what it's been like when I've tested it. And, you know, if it works for you, that's amazing. Because I want people to play more and more VR games. This is just what I've gathered. And a little bit of extra here for you. There are more comfort settings like vignettes and various things for the vignette and all that stuff to improve your experience if you use those type of things. And there's probably some other stuff that I'm just not remembering at the moment. It's also in there to help do that. So, yeah. And that is the end of this VR accessibility overview. Thank you so much for watching it. Hopefully it can help you, or maybe help somebody you know whether you can play this game or not. Maybe you've been on the fence, weren't sure. And hopefully this gave you the info that you needed. And I know most of the time people say, hey, share the video. Instead, I would say down in the description, always at the top, there is a link to a Google spreadsheet that will have all, I believe this is the 107th video overview, accessibility video overview, and the 140 something set of notes that'll also be alongside it. All will be on the spreadsheet. They're always all there. They're set each in different tabs alphabetically. So go right to whatever letter, and hopefully I've covered the game. And if I have, and I've also done a video for it, the link to the video will always be right next to the notes and all that stuff. I tried to make that spreadsheet as readable as possible, as easy to use as I can. So just look at that, check it out, give it to a friend if you know somebody that could use it. And yeah, that will be the end of this. Thank you so much. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day or night, whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will see you later. Alright, bye.